It's time for AggroChat, the official podcast of the Tales of the Aggronaut blog and stalwart gaming community, where we talk about stuff and things, and the stuff about the things, and sometimes gaming. I'm Belghast, and let's start the show.
Hey folks, it's that time again. Time for another episode of AggroChat. This is episode 532. Tonight I'm joined by Ammo.
Hello.
Ashgar.
Engagement.
Grace.
We're doing it for the exposure.
Kodra.
Metrics.
Damn.
It's really cold from all this exposure.
And Thalen.
Hi. I don't even know.
Like and subscribe? I don't know.
Smash that button.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Like that smash button.
There was a short-lived channel that had an outro where this kid goes, smash that like button, and then threw a laptop across the way. And anytime somebody says that, I think of that outro. So the reality is like, we don't make anything off of this podcast, so we don't really care how many listeners we have. So
Like, we appreciate you, each and every one of you, but
also we're mostly doing this just to have a time during the week when we're all hanging out together.
This is established in the canon.
It is. This is the lore of the podcast.
But yes, thank you for being here with us.
It's important to have time to get together and chat with your friends.
Yep.
yes.
Okay, this is a bump topic from last week. Is it still a game if it plays itself? I would say yes.
Progress Quest was a game.
Ceci n'est pas un pipe.
I mean, I enjoy AFK Journey, and it largely plays itself.
I have a whole ass degree about this, and my takeaway is it doesn't actually matter. Like, it is my like, I straight up have a diploma about this opinion that, like, yeah, sure, it's a game. Are you having fun doing it? Like, if you have to ask, then you are not asking the right questions about what it means to be a game. Because, like, you can get really, 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 like, academic about it. And frankly, there's a very good book if you want to read about it.
Okay, so let me step back and ask the terrible the terrible question of, like, where's the difference between a video game and a movie, right?
I mean,
Like,
that was easy.
You're making some decisions.
A movie
Okay.
doesn't care about your input.
Okay, if it plays itself and there is no player input, like, what are we talking about here? There has to be player input for it to be a game.
Yeah, so this came out of the origin of this question is because I became really obsessed with playing Cauldron over the last
God.
couple weeks.
That's all I have done. It has consumed and destroyed me.
But it made me think a lot because I play a bunch of idle games. I play a bunch of auto shooters. It's just a chill thing that I've gotten into more lately. And what Cauldron is doing is more interesting to me because it's giving the player so much agency as far as how much or little to actually interact with the game, and it feels really fun. But
It's so cool.
it made me think about some of the other idle games that I've played and the lack of engagement from them. And like, to be clear, I think that as long as you're providing some amount of input, it is a game.
Yeah.
If you are pressing a button and getting occasional enjoyment, that's a game. Or frustration on purpose. That is a game.
Yep.
Sid Meier would argue that they have to be interesting choices.
I don't even know if that's true, but
No.
because I play a lot of idle games that don't have any interesting choices, but I would still definitely call them games.
Although, I don't know. I kind of feel like interesting choices is in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like like that's a bar that is set by the person playing it, not by necessarily the designer. Like,
yeah. I mean, some people think playing EVE Online is all sorts of interesting choices. And I don't know. It's definitely choices. I don't know that they're interesting.
But Cauldron really made me step back and think about how we engage with games and the fact that the same game can be a completely normally interactive RPG and also just almost entirely an idle game where you auto battle, auto everything. And it's interesting either way. Like, you make different choices, you engage with it differently, but it's still interesting, and I cannot stop playing it.
Yeah, like yes. You can be so many. You can engage with it in so many different ways. It doesn't care, and like it's happy. It's as far as I could. It's happy as long as you're having fun. Like doesn't. There's
what it seems
probably
like.
somebody who painstakingly plays out every turn, and that sounds heinous to me, but
Yes.
I did not engage the auto battle functionality immediately upon getting it, but I did switch over to it after not too terribly long.
I mean, I love that there's sort of a meta auto battle functionality as well.
Yes.
So I've now played through every game mode. I've beaten, including evil mode. And yeah, it just, I think I played through the first play. I think I actually battled almost all of those battles. And then I started my second game and I did the auto battler. It does save a lot of time.
I'm pretty sure I turned the auto battler on the second I got it and immediately lost any context for how the battles even work. So like I'll lose a fight and be like, that was weird, and just go right back into it. Like, I don't know, maybe it'll work this time.
well, for me too, it like depends on what platform I'm playing it on and how I'm playing it. Because like there's a bunch of games that I've played that have some level of automation into them. But if I'm playing it on a phone, I tend to auto everything. If I am playing it on a desktop client, I tend to control my character more, if that makes sense. Like on a phone from bed, like, yeah, no, the level of engagement that I want is pushing buttons, and that's it.
But I love that the game is perfectly happy to let you do any of these things, and it will still be a fun time. And it doesn't judge you. It doesn't, like, I've beat the game on evil mode. I mostly still use the auto battler, and it was fine. And when it wasn't fine, I went and got some more skill points, and then went back,
And then
it was fine.
I do enjoy games that allow you to make something go fast that you have largely solved.
Yeah.
I always think about Persona 5 in this regard.
Yeah, like I think it's there's a point where you can get like the thing that was interesting early is just sort of tedious now.
Yeah.
And I think it's good to like, yeah, you don't have to do that. You've proven your mastery over that. You don't have to do it anymore.
Yeah.
That's honestly like one of the problems I have with a lot of the modern action games that quote unquote have interesting combat is that you can never get to a point usually where you can just brain off, roll over top of everything. And for me, that's the payoff of struggling early.
I will say I feel like I definitely get there when I'm playing like a Dark Souls 1, especially Dark Souls 3, kind of. Not a little bit Bloodborne, but like most of those Soulsy games, not Sekiro. Not talking about you, Sekiro. You can get to the point where you're powerful enough that you can kind of turn down your brain on those games. Some games just want to be punishing all the way through, though, and I don't necessarily like those games, and I feel like they haven't learned all of the lessons from why FromSoft games are the best in class in those style of games usually. I also really would say I like one of the ways I see this in Metroidvania games is you just get to be so mobile you just can ignore combats that you don't want to encounter.
I think the other thing I enjoy about Cauldron is that it takes that idea of you do something and then you get mastery over it and you get bored of it. And with most of its mini games, you play them for a little while, and just as you feel like you've got a handle on them, the mini game changes due to the choices you've made in the skill tree, or just getting more skills in the skill tree. And so it draws out the amount of time where it feels good to give them your attention. And then also, once you've gotten to the point where you've mastered them, or if you just hate the fishing game, you can turn that on auto also. Just let it play it for you.
The fishing game in particular.
Yeah.
I like it better than the Apple game.
The auto battler on the fishing game is so insultingly better than I am that it makes me a little sad. But I do like playing Mini Vampire Survivors.
I like that Mini Vampire Survivors turns into Pong later also. Like this game just keeps
very
adding layers.
weird.
Like the apple catching game turns into a bullet hell shooter, and the Vampire Survivors game turns into Pong, and I don't know. But I do think the answer to the question, is it still a game if it plays itself, is obviously yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, like, if it really, 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 really plays itself, I feel like Let's Plays are a perfectly valid way of experiencing games if you don't want to actually play it yourself.
Also valid.
Though the traditional Let's Play seems to be fewer and further between, on YouTube at least.
Now everyone's just streaming.
Yeah.
I miss when they were forum threads.
I have written a Let's Play as a forum thread. All the pictures are gone because PhotoBucket is the worst, but
I mean, this is how I've learned how to do anything at all and make sense of both Dwarf Fortress and Crusader Kings 2.
I mean, I
Both
got
had
into
excellent
Minecraft
Let's Play
through a
threads.
Let's Play, like an infamous Let's Play series. I think I only watched 3 of them before I bought the stupid game, though.
Like a Let's Play isn't a game, but
No. But
it's
you can experience a game through a Let's Play.
Yeah, it's a perfectly valid way of experiencing. Like, it's a perfectly valid way of experiencing a piece of media in the same way that reading the novelization of a book is a perfectly valid way to, or the novelization of a movie is a perfectly valid way to experience that movie.
The novelization of the movie based on the book.
it might get a little meta.
Look, the Broadway shows based on movies that now have movies based on the Broadway show that's based on the movie are the ones that mess with my brain.
Yeah, it can get a little weird.
So I threw this topic on there mostly because it's fairly fresh. 11th Hour Games was acquired by Krafton, the folks behind PUBG and an AI Slop Slims game and Terra, but specifically the Terra release that was in South Korea, not the Terra release that came to the United States.
I'm sure it's fine. They assure us it'll be fine. Why wouldn't it be fine?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I
We
think
can
there's
trust them, right?
I think there is no way that the game does not change. I just don't know if it will be positive or negative.
How do you feel about loot boxes?
I feel
Great.
like more aggressive monetization is going to be a certain thing.
That feels definitely sure because that game was not very aggressively monetized at all.
No, not at all.
Honestly, I mean, I'll be annoyed, but like if it means
If the game stays good, it'll be fine.
if I get cool cosmetics too, I'll be okay. Like I think that game could use more cool cosmetics. Now I'm sure this is going to annoy people who feel like this game is still kind of unfinished and still has a whole lot of like we are definitely not at the end of the campaign even, like the full game isn't released. Like that's been their thing is I don't think they've been focusing on cosmetics or monetization because they don't feel like their game's done. Also, it does feel like after Brendan Green's Fight Machine got extremely taken advantage by another publisher, they've decided that they want to get in the business of extremely taking advantage of other smaller games. See Subnautica 2.
Yeah, that the whole situation that's happening with Subnautica 2 right now is what gives me a heap and helping of pause about this acquisition.
That's what worries me.
Yep.
Because I think the staff at EHG have done a really good job of steering this ship for the most part. And it would certainly be a shame if they were all fired.
So that they
didn't have to pay like a bonus.
The publisher could get out of their contractually obligated requirements.
Yeah.
Like we're going to contractually we're going to put in a contractual quid pro quo. Like you do this, you get this. Great. Oh, you're going to do that? Nope, you're definitely not. We're going to fire all of you so that you're incapable of doing the thing that we offered compensation for. Absolutely wild. And I'm sure it's not going to be great for EHG to have a publisher who is very much in court drama for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it has not been taken well by a large chunk of the player base.
I don't blame them.
I mean, it's definitely bad timing.
Like, to be truthful, if we didn't know the Subnautica stuff, mostly I would just be, okay, I guess that's fine. I mean, they already took a big loan from I think NetEase, maybe?
Yeah, I truly also don't know what the financial situation for EHG is, and maybe this is like the only thing that would keep them going.
My hope is this will allow them to hire some additional staff to be able to like have more focus on things other than a very, very, very narrow, tight path that they're heading towards the next release. Because like there's a lot of things that just need cleanup. Like all of the models really need some love. Like namely the player models all need some love.
I'll be honest, I was also reading a forum post from the folks at Dwarven Realms, and it just seems like maybe it's a really hard time to be making video games. Because that did sound like the most optimistic post I've ever read.
It's a little nerve-wracking.
And that's another game where I don't like... Yeah. That game was very, 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 very cheap for the type of game that they were offering.
But like also improving the graphical fidelity massively increased the amount of work that had to be done on that game.
Yep.
I mean, so long as it was programmer art, things could be really rapidly iterated on. I don't know. I hope the best. I hope they can also nail the 4-month cadence that they're trying to hit. This seems to be like the next expansion's coming out on the 21st of August. So in theory, that's within the window that they had promised. So that seems good.
I do think that there's, I feel like there's a challenge with ARPGs and releasing them too early, because like one of the things with ARPG seasons is every season has to be X size in scope because it has to have a new mechanic, right? It has to have a new something.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's got to be really hard for a small team to consistently hit while also probably building up tech debt.
You could always just have a different color of Blood Tide.
Yeah, like, but that's bitten like Diablo 4 in the butt because they really haven't expanded any of their content by these seasons. They've just repurposed the same mechanic over and over and over and given more temporary powers. So like they've not improved their game really. Whereas like that's I mean, maybe that's asking too much because like that's the secret sauce of Path of Exile is that they are constantly adding more depth to the game through the seasons, because even if something doesn't immediately go standard, a lot of times it comes back in some form at a later date in a reworked version.
Crucible is never coming back.
The thing is like I could see something akin to Crucible coming back at some point, not in the state that it was, but I could see them implementing like a pinnacle boss that dropped like weapons with random trees on it. Like the crafting aspect of Crucible, I think is dead in the water, but I could see specific, like this mechanic drops a weapon with a tree on it.
I think they did actually do that. Like I think one of those unique weapons stuck around.
Like
So,
I doubt we'll ever
that's
plant.
not really good enough compared to what actually was available during Crucible.
Like I doubt we'll ever plant corpses again, but we got all flames back.
It's true.
And that's good. We should never want to plant corpses again.
Exactly. Like there's a filter that happens. Like I don't know that mercenaries are going to stick around. I like mercenaries. I think they're cool. They add an interesting depth to character building, but I think at some point, some aspect of that will come back. But anyway, that's been, Last Epoch's been following that same model that Path of Exile did, where they keep adding more evergreen content with each season.
Yeah.
And Diablo hasn't.
Yeah, I wish, I'll be honest, I feel like I listened to Rax's like soulful goodbye to Diablo 4, and I really wish there was somebody who was like providing commentary to that dev team that was a casual player, a casual consumer of Diablo 4. Because everything in that video was like, I play this game for 100 hours in a week and there's nothing more for me to do in it. And I'm like, yeah, I can believe that. There are other problems with this game that mean I don't want to play, but like you have a very specific, very weird set of problems.
Yeah, but I think the problem with Diablo 4 is there's no really good end game. And like Diablo 3 had a better end game loop than Diablo 4 does.
You mean after they added the super bosses? Because for a while,
I just mean Greater Rifts, Nephilim Rifts in Diablo 3 is a better end game loop than anything that currently exists in Diablo 4. And the only thing that I did enjoy was doing the boss summons, but they ruined that a couple patches ago because Grace and I would pool up all of our resources and we would have an afternoon of summoning all the bosses over and over and sharing the wealth of all of that stuff, looking for the specific item we were looking for. But now everyone has to provide a key to get loot. You can fight the boss as many times as you want. You just don't get loot from it.
I mean, it does feel like most ARPGs, not all ARPGs, I need to stress, but most ARPGs don't want you to feel like playing with friends is a good idea.
Yeah, that's kind of a problem. And
like these highly networked, very complicated games that are developed with a ton of netcode really just want you to play them solo.
Diablo 3 was better about playing with friends. Just you could split up and do bounties, you could group up and do rifts and greater rifts. It didn't really like penalize you for anything.
Right. And I was super sad when Diablo 4 wasn't that kind of a game.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a certain amount of like trying to preserve the challenge. Like, if players play together, they will trivialize the content and like, I don't know, get better rewards than they deserve or something. Like,
yeah,
it's just it's like this. It's this pathological fear, right? And it's this thing that like players themselves buy into, where it's like, oh, I don't want these scrub noobs to be able to have the same stuff I do, and like,
why does it matter?
yeah, like who cares, man?
People who want to play economic PvP.
Yeah,
Or
like
who want to have the highest gear score because that, be top of the leaderboard.
But like, this is a okay. So coming out of last week's discussion, I ended up writing a blog post this week, basically that I think one of the reasons why MMOs in general are dying is because of this fallacy of challenge, and they're listening to the wrong voices.
yeah, like if you play a game on release for 48 hours straight, and then you're out of game, like you got 48 hours
Yeah.
of game. Like,
Well, okay,
Maybe
like
it's time to play a different game now.
I complained about New World, but also I got like 300 hours out of it. Like I got my money's worth and then some. Like,
yeah,
I mean, I thought that the Secret Worlds in-game was absolute garbage. It's still one of my favorite MMOs of all time.
right, exactly.
yeah, like I don't think that Dune's endgame is particularly, like, to use an even more recent example, like I don't think that Dune's endgame is terribly interesting. And I certainly like don't want to do the grind necessary to do it, but I had a ton of fun with that game. And it's a few months down the line, if people are like, you know what, let's start a fresh server and go, I'm gonna be like, yeah, I'm in. Because it's fun. And it doesn't matter that it's not the forever. It doesn't matter that it's not a game that I can play like 8 hours a day for the next 6 years. Maybe it wasn't good that we ever had games like that.
Publishers would really like you to have games like that.
Yeah, I was about to say, I know the companies want us to have games like that because the company that made the game gets extremely wealthy. But for the industry as a whole, I don't know. I do have a lot of thoughts on the conversation from last week. I know there was some stuff mentioned in my name, which I mostly think I agree with. But
I don't even remember what we attributed to you, Kodra.
Just my general vibe of having a reputation is important, and having reputation matter is good for a community. Like, it's important that you are in a place where, to quote the Cheers, everyone knows your name, and your name matters. Which is definitely a thing we had in Vanilla WoW, and basically didn't have any time after Vanilla WoW because they introduced like server transfers, and that meant communities were a lot less fungible. Now, server transfers are ultimately, I've been convinced, a good thing. There was a while there where I was like adamantly opposed to them, but like just for the like playing with your friends, server transfer is important. But it would be nice to have something where like being a good person and helped your reputation amongst the peers that knew who you were, and not being a good person damaged it. So you were incentivized to not be a jerk.
Yep.
I also think, just from a communications perspective, one of the things I have found is that I have a lot harder of a time communicating in games where I have a controller, just because not having a keyboard directly at my fingertips means like my communication is going to be diminished as a result of that. And I don't have a great answer for that. Like, I almost want to like figure out if there's a way to do speech to text like in a reasonable fashion. I don't know how that technology is, honestly, but I do think that's like one of the things in my head. I also have been really toying with opt-in randomized social experience. Like, the problem you have with a lot of Dungeon Finder stuff is people are going into the dungeon to achieve a goal and to acquire loot. And if I'm looking at like your classic Bartle types, neither of the people that tend towards Dungeon Finder are the socializers. And it would be great if we could have like dungeon speed dating. It's like, I am a socializer. I want to be put in a group to do a thing and also socialize. I don't know how you do it, but it has been something I have been thinking of.
Something that you go into it knowing that you're going to get grouped up with people that are looking for a social experiment or experience.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like you say, like, I am somebody who wants to be social, and an algorithm tries to pair you up with more social people. I don't know. I don't like, this is definitely one of the things that I've been thinking about, because I do think a lot of these automated grouping systems are extremely appealing to people who are not interested in socializing, and therefore don't have to go into general chat and ask, hey, does anyone want to go to a dungeon with me?
There's this interesting thing, and there's this interesting thing with this is an interesting parallel to like minis games, right? Where it is impossible to play a miniatures game without interacting at a social level with another human being.
Mm-hmm.
And there is definitely a portion of that community that's like, I want all of the rules of this game to be laid out in such a way that I do not have to engage with the person across the table in any way other than to state rules. I want all of my interactions with this person to be held within this book so that I don't have to treat them like a person. I can just say, the rules say this, therefore everything is discrete, everything is defined.
Well,
You know,
it's the standard versus commander differences.
It's no longer a social thing. It is like, and like, I there are games that have tried to do that, and like, I mean, classically, War Machine's death was from trying to do this too much. Like, it took a game that required as little like as little like social interaction between its players as possible, and like streamlined as much of that out so that it was you could play War Machine like a dungeon finder thing, where like you just didn't interact with the people, you didn't really interact with the person you were playing against, and like, other than to state, I am doing X, I am activating X ability,
Mm-hmm.
I am doing X thing, I have performed this action. Like, you just never had to talk to the person. And like, you know, the last War Machine tournament I ever played, which was like the one that caused me to quit, was the one where I was like, I don't even know the names of anybody I played, because they just came to the table, set up, we rolled dice, we went through the game, and the only like non-game only non-rulebook interaction was at the end of the game we would shake hands and say good game. And that was in the tournament packet as a suggested thing to do. And I was just like, oh my god, this is miserable. Like, I don't want to experience games this way.
Yeah.
It was just like, it was like a light bulb moment where I was like, oh my god. And I think that sometimes it's like, hey, actually it's good to interact with people.
Yes.
I mean, up to a point, because I will say that there are some situations, like as a person who was female presenting and in a lot of game stores for a while, like sometimes you don't want to interact with the person across the table from you at a tournament. Sometimes having the rules say, I can do these things within this set of parameters, and that's all the engagement we need to have, is the safer thing to do. So
Yeah.
there is something to be said for that. I agree in general that interacting with other players in games, in and especially in person setting, is something that should be expected, but there are definitely situations where it's a positive for some people to be able to have very clear boundaries around those interactions.
Yeah. Well, and my take on that one is that that's why you build good, welcoming communities. Like, you can't outsource your community building to a rule book. Like, it's on the people organizing and running that community to build welcoming spaces because if you're going it like there shouldn't be like I mean, and I realize this is like an incredibly idealistic statement, but like there shouldn't be a game store where you would want to not have that communication because you feel uncomfortable with the person, because like,
And yet,
I mean, I realize, like, again, I realize, but like,
And even really great stores, like I
Yeah.
had local game stores that I loved and loved the owners, love the vibe of the store, but you can't always control who walks into a tournament.
Yeah, like it only takes one toxic experience to taint everything. Is the problem?
I want better people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
yeah.
there's a store around the corner from my house within easy walking distance, and I don't ever play there because it's kind of sketchy.
That used to be our really only game store. I mean, years and years ago now. Like our local game store now is much better. I still don't. I'd still be shocked if there if there weren't any toxic people playing there, though. Honestly,
We had at a local magic tournament, we had somebody who was like winning it get ejected mid-tournament and like just unapologetically like, you out now, get out. No, you're not getting a refund. No, this is not negotiable. Out. We don't care how you were doing. Leave. And like the vibe that came with it was honestly shocking. Like it wasn't like an everybody applauded kind of, Reddit story, but it was like that was a quiet room, and then it was suddenly like sociable again. People were chatting and
sudden sense
laughing.
of relief just throughout. Yeah, I think a lot of communities need to understand better the degree to which, yeah, maybe that one toxic person does spend a lot of money, and yeah, maybe they are really good at the game, like, but also the damage they are doing to the community is far beyond anything that could possibly be worth.
I really got to read. It's. I'm staring at it because it's sitting on my desk. I really have to read Victoria Tran's book on building community.
They're the community manager for Among Us, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
But yeah, I do think like there are different styles of experience. Like one of the things that I was kind of entertaining with Ash is like, I kind of want to just go into a raid knowing I'm going to fail and like beat my head against it for a while with a bunch of friends and chat about what's going on.
No, I love going into something blind, not having had to do homework, knowing that, yeah, maybe there'll be stuff that we don't know how to deal with, and maybe we'll die, but we'll learn.
And like that was my question is, if I go into a Guild Wars 2 raid without an optimal set of players, will I be able to beat the first boss? I don't know. Maybe I should.
Mostly, yeah. Like,
okay.
Yeah, so like this is a thing that I could be doing right now. It just takes me tagging up and forming a group for it, because like I've contemplated like forming a dungeon party and just like, first time want to go in blind and
if you haven't done the dungeons, they're definitely all clearable that way.
Mostly I'm thinking the exploration path specifically.
The exploration paths are also mostly clearable that way. Even when you
Some of them require additional bodies, or they're supposed to require additional bodies.
Supposed to require additional bodies.
So, some of them really want you to have 5 people there.
Yup.
But sometimes you can cheese it with turrets and things.
Yup. Boy, have we come up with some questionable solutions to dungeons. But I love that. That's like my favorite, like those build lasting memories where it's like, all right, everyone open up your spell book. Like, let's go through the full kit.
How are we going to address this?
I think the challenge is right now the party finder system is really only used amongst the more serious players.
I was about to say, when I look at raids, there is like usually 3 raids that are like must have already cleared this. We are just like forming up a random group of people who have all cleared this raid. there is 0 raids open in the, hey, we'd like to do this for our first time.
Yeah. And you're expected to join a learning party from one of the established raid communities in order to figure out how to get in there. But then from that point on, you're expected to do everything perfectly.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't know. I want to do something where it's not actually rude to suck at Warcraft. Like, being bad at Warcraft is some of my favorite memories of Warcraft.
Like, I really enjoyed when we were doing the Tin Mans in Final Fantasy XIV.
Yeah.
We would go in the first time blind. And yes, we would die. Of course we would die.
I enjoyed those probably too much.
The one that I think of that is, inappropriate play of an MMO was our 10-person or 10 hunter UBRS run.
Oh, excellent. I mean, I started my MMO career doing things that the designers did not want me to do because I got my start in everything doing stealth runs. And not just stealth runs of LBRS, which was the easy mode. We were trying to figure out how we could stealth every dungeon. And those were a lot of fun. It's like, well, we don't think this is possible, but let's see what happens.
Won't know unless we try.
We won't know unless we try. What was the bone monster in Skolomance?
Rattlegore?
Yeah. That was ill-advised.
Rattlegore hit pretty hard back in the day.
Yeah,
yes, it did.
And like bears were very tanky, but probably didn't have enough threat generation.
It was the same problem Paladins had forever. Where they were plenty tanky, but they couldn't generate threat for crap.
But that was also an interesting. I mean, I remember that was an interesting dungeon because there was a bunch of like. You had to open doors, and opening doors was incredibly fraught because that breaks stealth. And so we had to figure out a whole bunch of different ways to do that. But like, yeah, I would love to just go into some Guild Wars 2 raids, not knowing what's going on, and try and figure out how we get through them. And I would not even mind doing it with people who were interested in that type of experience. But like, you gotta like have a way for people to self-select for. I'm interested in having like.
I'm interested in definitely failing this at least.
I'm interested in experiencing failure. That's probably the right way to put it. Like my first thought was I'm interested in having a bad time, but no, these are great times. I'm interested in experiencing failure and trying to learn from that.
Or I can cope with failure.
Yeah.
Like. Every single big lasting like core memory from WoW is when things went wrong. Like my first core memory of WoW is Scarlet Monastery when after having beaten all of the enemies, we started heading back for an optional boss and the entire zone respawned on us.
Oops.
So that's another thing with the way that encounters are designed right now is it feels like there's a lot of there is one solution to this problem scenarios. Whereas like I know just the strats that LNR used were not the strats that anyone else used because they were played up to the strengths of the people we had.
Yes.
Well, and there was enough flex in the design that you could have different strats. Like other groups, it's the difference between like what is optimization getting you? Is it getting you success or is it getting you speed?
Yes.
And like there's a lot of like it's all about like you must be optimized to succeed or the weight that is optimization as speed is so heavy that people don't consider that success is achievable without doing it in 30 seconds.
Yeah. I was about to say, LNR had extremely LNR strats for Molten Core and for Blackwing Lair. The only LNR specific strat I can think of from Naxxramas is rogue tanking on the
what's his name?
mind control fight.
Oh,
Yeah,
the one
but
with
we
where
tried
you're
a
supposed
bunch
to use
of-
Shadow Priests, yeah.
We tried a bunch of things though, and our Shadow Priests just weren't cutting it on that one.
Our Shadow Priests eventually cut it once, like, we just accepted that there was going to be a period of failure and the rogues would tank it for 15 seconds. And that was enough wiggle room for our Shadow Priests.
That was the weirdest dungeon though, because like we would go in there and make zero progress night after night, and then the last time we went in, we cleared like 3 bosses.
Yeah, but wasn't that because like Eleanor historically never expected people to flask up, and then for the very last run we all flasked up.
Yeah, I think it was something stupid like that.
Yes,
but somebody provided all the flasks.
yes.
Yep.
Hey, actually, Naxxramas was the beginning of the end for optimization means success versus optimization means speed. Like, Naxxramas is kind of when design became too tight, in my opinion.
Yes, that was the era when 3% of the player base had beaten any bosses in there.
And like, frankly, it was too tight for the last 2 bosses of Encourage as well. And then yeah, Twin Imps, was it? And
Twin Imps and Cthulhu, yeah.
And Cthulhu, both of those were
rough.
probably like the first of a too tight design.
I feel like we only got through Twin Imps because we had a really good Warlock tank.
Yeah, but yeah, we had 2, as I recall, right? Because you had to have 2, 1 for each side.
Yeah, there was one was one of them could be tanked with a traditional tank,
but
one of them had to have a caster tank.
Places
they swapped places.
Yeah, they swapped.
Yes.
Yeah, so you had to have one of each on each side.
I don't know who the backup. I don't know who the backup spell tank was.
We had 2. We had a. I mean, our warlocks were, as I recall, a bit of a drama fest, but mostly quite competent.
God, I can't remember the name of the really good warlock tank I'm thinking of.
I mean, I remember we had Guile.
Guile is the person I'm thinking of.
And Lexan?
I mean, that sounds right.
Was Lexan still around at that point?
Yeah.
Okay. Guile specifically is who I was thinking of. But anyway, like I said, like raid design just changed to where it was, slot A into, or peg A into slot B type scenario.
Yeah, but like that doesn't. This is where I was listening to last week, and I'm like, you know what makes me feel like I'm playing a classic vanilla WoW raid boss? Going into any meta in Guild Wars 2. And oh my goodness, do I have so much fun doing that. Yep. And like, yeah, actually, this is how you get to experience that social aspect. And like, there is some communication happening. There's way more like meaningful chat in Guild Wars 2 comms than most of the other games I play.
Right.
Because usually it's like very focused on doing a thing. And then like there's chatter, and the chatter is fine because we're all working together.
Right. And I think that's a key important thing, is that everyone's pulling towards the same objective.
I do think the one thing I miss from Guild Wars 2 is like that happened in WoW is the random reward. The like, I got this thing that I've been trying to kill this boss for so long, and I finally got this thing. And
yeah. You should be aware that those things exist, and they're almost all cosmetic.
Well, yeah. So they do exist. They're all cosmetic. I'm actually
they exist.
Okay with that.
In the form of infusions, largely.
I mean,
for what?
Infusions
largely.
I mean, that and the random ascended trove things that you can get off various bosses.
You can get random ascended off of some world bosses as well, yeah.
I mean, I have a Twaddle horde in my inventory that I haven't decided what I'm going to do with it yet.
I have never gotten an ascended off of Tequato, ever. I don't kill it every day like you do, but still.
I mean, I haven't been doing it every day, but yeah, no, I've done it hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of times.
Yeah, I actually think it being cosmetic is better, because then it's like, hey, I just got this cool thing, and everyone can like ideally get excited about it.
I mean, it can also make you very wealthy, depending on which infusion you get.
Yes.
Because
man.
I mean, they are usually thousands of gold for the really rare ones. But like, I would say most of the encounters have some crazy rare drop on them.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty standard. Like
Okay.
it's every big meta, like there's an infusion that can drop off of that extremely rarely.
And like Dragon's Den does not have an infusion. Dragon's Den instead offers invisible slippers.
Yes.
Okay.
So you too can be Queen Jenna.
It's interesting. Is there like, because I don't know if it's actually so rare that I just don't see people get them, or if it's something where like there's just not really like people talking about getting cool things like that.
I've definitely seen players link the infusion from Chalk Garrett.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's
that usually gets
super
linked in chat
rare.
if somebody gets it.
It's super rare. Like the likelihood that someone in like of the 50 or so people that are running around the zone, the likelihood someone got it that day is real rare.
Okay.
Like we're talking 10th of a percent, maybe, like, you know,
If that.
one in thousands chance. And that's one of those things that keeps people coming back for the metas.
Yeah, I guess
It really does.
I guess that is a totally reasonable thing, because like part of me is like, I want there to be the cycle of we defeated a boss and then people are excited because they get something for defeating the boss as a group, and like people get to celebrate that ideally.
I mean, it's funny. The thing is usually progress towards my legendary X.
Yeah. It's always very discreet what the rewards for these things are.
So like randomized rewards are less common, although rewards also do have randomized, like I think ascended weapon boxes are a fairly common raid reward as opposed to rare from world events. Or even like fractals, although as you go up in higher tier in fractals, they become more common there too.
I was about to say, I got a lot of rings.
You get a lot of rings even in low tiers, which is good because you got to generate those stabilized matrices somehow.
Yep.
I didn't think you could use rings for that.
You have to use rings for that mostly.
Yeah.
What's the cube?
Dark matter.
Dark matter is
Dark matter requires an actual ascended item.
Okay, I was about to say.
Okay, so the wiki does not list a rarity chance for the chalk egg sack, which is used to craft the infusion of your choice. But according to the wiki, it sells for 10,000 gold.
Oh my!
Usually, if a rarity is not listed, that means rare enough that we don't really have sufficient data to be sure.
But yeah, like I'm saying, there are
size.
definitely chase items. Okay.
But, yeah, I guess I don't actually know what the chase items are from raids, other than legendary progress, which is the thing people do.
Legendaries, I think. I mean that, and they also straight up drop ascended items.
Like I don't know if there's like a rare chase item there.
Yeah, that I actually don't know.
Having not done any of them, I don't know. I've done strikes. I've not done raids. Strikes are very fun. They're basically trials from Final Fantasy, sort of.
Yeah.
Where you just go in and fight a boss.
Some of them you have to like make your way to the boss, but I think most of them at this point, you're pretty much just right at the boss.
Some of the early ones were longer than dungeons.
Yes.
I'm hoping that eventually we can attract enough people on the Thursday night nonsense that we can eventually try strikes.
Yay.
Because you have to do one to get your turtle.
If this hasn't been mentioned yet, in Guild Wars 2 right now, as you listen to this podcast, probably, there is the World v. World Rush event.
Oh my goodness. It is so much.
Immensely lucrative.
It is immensely lucrative to a level that I could not actually believe.
Yeah, no, like we've not talked about this, but I did a single capture of the castle in the center of the Eternal Battlegrounds, and it got me 2.5 levels worth of World versus World, or 2.5 battle tracks in World versus World.
I think Customus Castle counts as every objective below it. It basically insta-completes the World v. World Rush achievements.
Right. Yeah, like I just automatically got all of those and basically got 2 full tracks, Gift of Battle tracks completed. And I think 8 ranks in World versus World off that one completion. It was nonsense. like at a minimum, you want to do it enough to get your World versus World Rush completion.
Yeah, like even if you don't get Stone Mist, it still dramatically magnifies the rewards you get from being in World v World.
What's a good track to be on in World v World?
Most non-repeatable tracks are Ward 7 clovers.
Some more. The Drizzlewood, I think, is 14.
Yeah, those
But
are
yeah,
non-repeatable. So you haven't done it yet. That's 14 clovers right there.
Yeah, that would be the first thing. Do your non-repeatable tracks. Do all.
If you haven't done it
Well,
yet, get a Gift of Battle.
Yeah, Gift of Battles are usually why I go there. Gifted Battle will roll over. The non-repeatables, I think I would have just lost all that extra progress.
No, it would have gone into Ascalonian Catacombs.
Yeah.
Okay. It
or whatever
the
the next one in the list is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
It just auto switches you to a different track and dumps it all in there. The Warclaw track is less important than it used to be.
It used to be required to get a Warclaw.
You could just get a Warclaw now.
Which you just have now. For spending a single point. That single point used to unlock the reward track, and now it gives you a Warclaw.
I think you get like a specific skin now, don't you, or something like that?
I believe so.
Yes.
I have not done it. I'm still working on it.
I auto got the skin because I'd already completed the Warclaw track. That was one of the first things I did in World versus World because I did not want to run around without a mount. And then
a mount that is kind of not faster than running around.
Look.
It's a little faster.
I like being on a mount. I've also got the full all my points in Warclaw, so I'm basically buffing people as I'm running around.
Once you get it ranked up, it's quite good. It's just not very fast before that.
The other thing I went after was like the provisioner thing that makes me auto loot bodies because
hugely important.
I cannot be bothered with looting anything anymore. That was I created a brand new account so that I could like create some guides on it because it's been so long since I've seen what a baseline account is. And I just never loot anything because I'm so used to auto looting on a real account. Like I just forget to loot because it's been years since I last looted anything in Guild Wars 2. Okay, so what actually happened with the computer discussion from last week? I see a pulling a trigger topic.
Yeah, I gave in and decided I was just going to spend money and do the work and build the whole stupid thing myself. So like I splurged a little knowing that like I could spend a little bit more than I was planning on. So I just sort of went all in. Part of this is I have a few connections that allow me to get parts at wholesale prices. So I was able to just get some parts cheap.
That's handy.
Yeah, cheaper than normal. It helps when you work in an industry that needs a large number of high-tier gaming rigs.
Yeah.
So like the least advanced piece of the oldest piece of hardware that will be in this thing is the 4090 at this point. And I have to put it all together myself and probably tweak my RAM timings.
Yeah.
So fun story. You can get 7,000 plus speed RAM, but there's not a lot that can actually run it. And I don't want to. I wanted to use I wanted a 9800 or 9950 X3D. So that's where I landed on the processor because I could get it for a lot less than I should have gotten it for, and then kind of built the rest around that. And I bought a case for it and like, all right, we're just going to build another computer and throw an old graphics card into the old one because I found it carefully tucked away in storage.
Yep.
And was like, you know what? All right, it's still like this will be a computer that is largely functional in many ways. Might as well just go for it. So that's building a bunch of stuff from scratch. Took some time to figure out which motherboard actually will handle the load.
It supports all of the things.
Yeah, so one of the things that I'm actually doing is dropping my RAM to about half of what it was before. Because So for other reasons, I had 196 gigabytes of RAM, mostly not used because you can only clock so much. Like the memory controller can only go so high, and I'm bringing that down to 96, which is like too much for 98% of use cases. But I will use my computer as a render box sometimes, so I do actually need a stupid amount of RAM. I find it very interesting that above a certain speed, RAM drops from 32 gigabyte sticks to 24 gigabyte sticks. Like, why? Who knows?
I mean, there is no particular reason it needs to be a power of 2.
No, but
it's
just such a weird, like, it was kind of the thing I was talking about last week, where it's like, why does this matter? Like, why would you even make this decision? I'm sure there's like a hardware choice, but it's like, okay, cool. I just have a weird amount of RAM now. It's never going to matter, but like, it's not a clean power of 2. And I'm not super looking forward to tweaking my RAM timings. But whatever, like maybe this is the last computer I ever build. The mystique and prestige of building my own machine left me like 15 years ago. So, but it's in this particular case more economical. So here we are.
Yep. I mean, since you'll have a still functional machine, you might be able to just set up a render farm between the two of those machines.
Yeah.
And lean on both of them.
Yeah, there's just enough use case for me to have a second functional computer in the house that I can justify it. And like, it took a lot of sitting down, especially at the point where I'm just buying parts instead of buying a whole new rig. I think ROG Strix is overpriced for what you're getting. I think there are equally good motherboards that you can get for like $300 cheaper.
That sounds about right.
For a name.
Yeah, you're paying a lot for a name. You
pay so much for names.
Yeah, like a big part of what I am doing with this machine is not overpaying for brand names. We'll see if I regret the G-Skill RAM, but nobody seems to.
Probably not. That is a perfectly reputable brand. It's been around forever.
Yeah, it's a perfectly reputable brand. It's just not one of the like.
It's just not gamer RAM.
Exactly. So anyway, long story short, I decided that I don't know, needed a project. It's extremely funny to me that there's like 30 different kinds of thermal paste that are all claiming to be doing something. The one thing that I am doing.
Don't buy Arctic Silver.
No, it's not that. I know that one.
But also don't buy the liquid metal ones. They will eat your processor slowly over time.
As well as being much more dangerous to work with, as they are, conductive.
Toxic.
Seems like a problem.
No, I'm just dealing with a basic, straightforward.
I just remember that was the big thing when I was building my computer the first time, and then even again in college.
Oh yeah.
Got to get the silver thermal paste.
I'm pretty sure I've always just used the little thing of thermal paste that came usually with the cooler.
So LTT is selling an interesting product that looks novel. It basically functions like a thermal pad until you apply it, and then it melts and becomes thermal paste, so that you just put the pad on and close it down, and the first time it goes up, it basically liquefies into a thermal paste at that point. And that seems like a cool product.
Yeah. The only other thing that I'm setting up for the first time that I've never done before is a water cooling setup.
Like an all-in-one or like a loop?
An all-in-one.
Okay, those are super easy.
Yeah, it's not challenging. I was just like, oh, I've never done that one, but I've never done that specific thing myself before.
Yeah, no, the biggest part of that is just making sure that you have a case that it'll fit in.
Yeah, it's fine.
Which
I also have measuring tools in my home. And can do math in a spreadsheet.
So funny thing about that thing you just said.
Does fine most of the time.
I also pulled the trigger on a B580, which I found one for actually close to MSRP. So
Ooh, nice.
I'm not paying $300 $250 for a $250 graphics card.
Yep.
I'm paying $250 for that graphics card.
Card or motherboard?
Card.
I'm
Nice.
really interested to see how this performs for you.
Well, it's going to take a while before I find out, because while the dimensions say this card should fit in my case,
Oh no.
it is unable to be seated in my case with the motherboard still in it.
Yeah, so that's what happened to me when I got my 1080 Ti back in the day, is I had to get another case.
Yes.
This is why I have an honestly absurdly huge case, because
Yep.
I had more than once had a part not fit in the case that I owned. So I said, to hell with it. Biggest case I can get.
It's funny. For this use case, I could just have a huge case. I like my small cases, generally speaking. In particular, I love the Micro ATX cubes. I just love this case design. And they're also pretty great because you get to hide all of your sins away behind the back panel, behind the motherboard.
That's a big plus.
Yes.
So, like, this should have fit in this case, but because of the structure of the rear panels, the closure of the case is too close to the top, so it won't fit in. Like, theoretically, if I could seat it, it would fit just fine. Right. So there's the theoretical solution where I could take the motherboard out and put the graphics card in it, and then put both of them in.
That was the problem that I had with my old case, was it still had basically an optical drive cage at the front. And
I have already torn that out of this case.
And if I had cut that out, I could have fit the card. But I was like, no, I'm just going to go get another case.
I have already torn that out of this case. It had one. My radiator didn't fit. So that's how that one happened.
I mean, I was actually using optical drives, and I just didn't want to Dremel like a chunk of the cage out of the way.
Thankfully, I did not have to actually Dremel anything. This one just required me to unscrew some bolts that were not intended to be unscrewed.
Oh, the slight thing that I am looking forward to with this new case is 4 more case fan slots than my current one does.
That is going to be a thing with the new case, though. I've got new case fans on the way because there are way more spots for case fans.
Yeah, heat's a thing.
I bought this case when I didn't know any better. You would think the shuttle would have taught me something, but it did not sufficiently.
Oh no!
So like this case has never been great for like running a powerful computer in, which has been fine for the backup computer. But as I try to do more render stuff, more 3D stuff on it, it's like your 1070s no longer start to cut it.
Yeah.
Looking at the clock, that's probably a show. Anybody have any super short topics that they want to discuss?
Hades 2 put out they intended to have the last patch be the last one before they go 1.0, and they were like, well, we've got something that we need to actually do. So this, I believe the patch that just came out this week is the last one before 1.0.
Oh.
Like the jump from here to Hades 2 is released is pretty short. They are doing a thing where they are resetting a bunch of progress when the game releases. So that you can't just skip to the very end. There's some like very late game items that if you had acquired, they're going to reset those because they'll be important for some final story bit that they're going to drop with the final release. But I look forward to jumping back into that game. I might jump back into that game now because it's basically done. They're like almost everything except for the very final pieces are in now. So and that game is really good. I can't wait. I'm really excited to see how it's changed since I played it. What was that, a year ago?
I bought it as soon as it hit early access, and I have not run it once.
I'm in the same
I am waiting
boat.
for 1.0.
I desperately want to play it, and I have been good and not touched it because I want to play it when it is complete.
It is soon, very soon. And I cannot wait to talk to people about it in a very real sense, because it's so good. It's like they know what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you enjoyed the show, and we will see you again next week. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
See you.